Gananam tva ganapatigam havamahe kavim kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anashrunvannotibhisida sadanam Shri Mahaganadhipataye namaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dear friends, we are in the first mantra of the last valli of Kathopanishad. That is Urdhva Mulo Avakshakha Yeshoshvatha Sanatanaha Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma Tadeva Amrutam Tasmin Tadeva Amrutam Uchyate Tasmin Lokashritas Sarve Tadunatyeti Kaschana Etadvaitat. So that mantra we read, I explained, and then we also almost read a lot of the Bhashyam also. A lot of Bhashyam also we read. We are in the middle of that Bhashyam. So here we have seen how this Vedic Rishi, who is also a very great poet, he has given a great metaphor about this, say, samsara. Samsara, we were discussing, is something which we are not describing the external world. Samsara is something which is your own state of mind. Our own state of mind is what is samsara. That is what is being described here. So what is this tree? This Urdhva Mula Atha Avakshakaha tree is nothing but our own mind tree, our own Antahkarana tree. This mind which is manifesting in different forms. That is Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara and Chittam. So all these things, they have been described here. And Shankaracharya has taken this opportunity to describe the whole world of samsara, the whole world which is in our minds. And then he has described the entire, say, human experience, we can say, the entire human experience. And then what sort of, say, what is the origin of this mind, or the origin of this mind also, the very first line is telling about the Urdhva Mula. The origin is something which is very great. Origin is something which is highly commendable. Utkrushta. Utkrushta is high supreme. That supreme origin. It has got such a noble birth. But then it has come down. It has descended, and then it has fallen into evil days and evil tongues. Like in English there is a saying. It has fallen on evil days and evil tongues. So this great mind which has originated from above, which has got such a noble origin, which has now descended, and then it is having all types of experiences. It is having all types of feelings like raga, dvesha, anger, hatred, horror, all these feelings it is having. And then it is having so many other, say, aspects which were described here. For example, this is something which is a vruksha. Number one, it is something which can be broken. It can be easily wrecked. It can be destroyed. Then again, it is something, kadali stambhavat nissaraha, like the trunk of a say banana tree. This banana tree, it is something which doesn't have any solid stuff in that. You can just peel it off. You can just peel it off, and then it will come out, and then like a banana tree, you can just peel it off. So likewise, if you just examine what is your Antahkarana and then negate one after the other, this Antahkarana gets negated. Totally this Antahkarana gets negated, and then what remains is that Supreme Chaitanya only. So this Antahkarana is so Nissara. It appears as a very strong one, but then it is Nissara. Then again, Aneka Pakhanda Buddhi Vikalpaspadaha, that is, it is also giving scope for so many people to propose or advance so many theories about its origin and then its real nature of that Antahkarana. People are saying that this Antahkarana or this conscience or mind, this is something which is originating from matter. Somebody says, no, it is created by God on such and such a day. So like that, hundreds and hundreds of people are giving hundreds and hundreds of explanations about the origin of this particular tree called Antahkarana. Then again, Avidya Kama Karma Bija Prabhavaha. This origin, this again, how it has descended, how it has fallen down. It as though falling down from heaven. So how has it fallen down? Because of avidya, because of this ignorance. And this ignorance is provoking you to do some karma. It is giving rise to desire. and this desire is giving rise to some pravrutti, some action, and then you are getting into that cycle of samsara. So that is what we have seen. Then again, apara brahma vijnana kriya shakti dvayatmaka hiranyagarbhankura. This hiranyagarbha, which is that appearance in that maya. I am just referring to what we read in the last class. So Hiranyagarbha is we know that Hiranyagarbha is the first manifestation, that is the first jiva, and that jiva is the ankura, that is as though that Hiranyagarbha is the sprout, and from that sprout this tree has come. This mind, what is behind that buddhi? Behind that buddhi is the vyashti intelligence, that is intelligence at the individual level. Intelligence at the cosmic level, that cosmic intelligence is that samashti buddhi, is that Hiranyagarbha. So that Hiranyagarbha, which is otherwise called Mahat Tattvam. So that Mahat Tattvam is the Ankura, that is the sprout from where all this tree has come. So then Sarva Prani Linga Bheda Skandha, this Linga Sharira, this Antahkarana, which is the most important component of that Linga Sharira, this is something like a skandha. It is something like a trunk or a huge branch. Skandha also means a branch, it can also mean a trunk. You can interpret both ways. So it is like this skandha. So this linga bheda, linga sharira of each individual also is different. This linga sharira is the thing which is transmigrating. This linga sharira is the thing which is experiencing various things. And then buddhi indriya vishaya pravalankuraha. This buddhi, indriya, all the sense organs are presenting so much of sense data in front of your mind, and then all this is being processed in your mind and also by the intellect. So all these things, they are like these tender leaves which are there for that tree. They are compared to that when you compare it to the tree. And all the good deeds which you do, that is yajna dana tapa dyaneka kriya supushpaha. That is, you do all this yajna, yaga and all these things. These are all the nice flowers which are there, which are giving fragrance. That is, number one, by doing all these things you also get a good name. Suppose there is a good tree which is giving good flowers and then very fragrant flowers. So everybody likes that tree. So similarly, when you do some good deeds, you are also liked, and then you are also helping so many other people. Then sukha dukkha dhyane karasaha. This antahkarana is the center. This is the place where all these feelings, navarasa, we discussed navarasas in the last class. That is various, all these Shungara, Vira, Karuna, Adbhuta, Hasya, Bhayanaka, all these rasas, they are experienced in this mind only. This Antahkarana is the place where all these things are experienced. Then we also saw this is something which is nourished by ambition. Trishna Jala Vasekodbhuta Darpaha. This ego is pampered over a period of time and it has been nourished by ambition. I have to do this, I have to do this, I am this, I am this. So this is a type of ambition to achieve and achieve. So that has given rise to a full-fledged ego. Over a period of time, you have nourished and pampered your ego, and then it is at a very high level. So that is another thing. Then pranyupajivya ananta phalaha. Sometimes it is also helping all others. Pranyupajivya. There are so many this is becoming a source of life for several others. Then Trishna Salila Vaseka Pravudha Jadi Kurta Drudabadha Mulaha. This is something again, Trishna Jala. This Trishna Jala has come twice here. So this ambition or greed, this is something which is making this antahkarana to take deeper and deeper roots into this world. In this world. So prarudha drudha baddha molaha. You are not able to get disentangled. It is this drudha baddha mola, this all these aerial roots, they are entangling you. They are not leaving you. So the more trishna is there, trishna means ambition, greed. This ambition or greed is not allowing you to get rid of this samsara. It is making you to get more and more solidly rooted. Like we were discussing, you have greater friend circle and then you have greater bandhanas. So like that. Then Satyanamadi Saptaloka Brahmadi Bhuta Pakshikurta Nedaha. All these lokas which you talked about, this Satyaloka, Maharloka, Bhuvarloka, etc., etc. These are all various experiential states which are there, which are meant for the mind only. All these things, all these lokas, they are expressions or appearances in the same consciousness, isn't it? In the same Brahman's consciousness, all these lokas, they are various states of experience. And this antahkarana is something like a passenger or something like a bird which goes and takes rest in one nest sometime and goes to some other nest and takes rest there for some time, then again returns. So this is the play, these are all like nests which are there in that huge tree, where this Antahkarana, it goes, takes rest and then comes back. So it is like that. Then Prani Sukha Dukkhodbhuta Harsha Shoka Jata Nrutya Gita. This was the last line we were reading.
Yes.
So all this tumultuous noise of life, Prani Sukha Dukkhodbhuta. When you are happy, you are making a noise. When you are unhappy, you are making a noise. Prani Sukha Dukkha Udbhuta Harsha Shoka Jata. Because of Harsha, happiness, because of Shoka. Because of that, Nrutya Gita Vaditra Chvelita Aspotita Hasita Krushta Rudita Haha Muncha Muncha Dyaneka Shabda Kruta Tumuli Bhuta Maharavaha. It is a long phrase which is describing all this tumultuous noise of this whole samsara. So all this, what is all this? This we read in the last class also. We read all this dance, music, and then various expressions of anger, various expressions of disgust, various expressions of people who are in danger. Ha ha, muncha muncha, leave me, leave me. It can either be a woman or even a man when vanquished by an enemy. Suppose an enemy is about to kill somebody, so this fellow is just saying, okay, leave me, leave me. So something like that. Ha ha ha, muncha muncha, itya dhyaneka shabda kruta tumuli bhuta maharavaha. This is where we stopped. This is huge noise. All this noisy world, all these noisy experiences which we have in our mind. So this is being described here. So all this is, what is that? Samsara Vruksha. Then how to get rid of that Samsara Vruksha? The next line let us read. Vedanta Vihita Brahmatma Darshana Asanga Shastra Krutochhedaha
Brahmatma Darshana Asanga Shastra Krutochhedaha
Yesha Samsara Vrukshaha Ashvathaha.
Yesha Samsara Vrukshaha Ashvathaha.
So let us see this first line. Vedanta Vihita Brahmatma Darshana Asanga Shastra Krutochhedaha. So how to get rid of this thing? This can be got rid of, or this can be cut or uprooted by one Shastra. Shastra means a weapon. It can be an axe, or it can be a sword, whatever it is, Shastra. Asanga Shastra. This Shastra is Asanga. Asanga means unattached, being unattached. So this state of unattachment, this state of dispassion, state of disconnecting yourself, state of the ability to disconnect yourself and ability to see everything as a drushya, and ability to see yourself as the only druk, ability to elevate yourself to the position of that sakshi, leaving all other things as drushya. So that is what is asanga. So asanga is built up over a period of time. Asanga cannot happen all of a sudden. This vairagya has to be that abhyasa vairagya bhyam tannirodha, we have read in say this Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So this abhyasa, various sadhanas are there for that. Asanga does not come all of a sudden. Asanga may come all of a sudden to somebody like say some examples which were given earlier. Some great sages, by merely hearing to that Tattvamasi etc., they get elevated to that stage. That Atma Jnana, it dawns on them, but not for everybody. Not for everybody, because we have got such a baggage of karma. We have to slowly get rid of this karma. We have also done so many karmas in this life also. We have to get rid of these karmas too. Then how? This is the only way. Knowledge is the only way. And the prerequisite for this knowledge, the path of knowledge, is that all other things like karma yoga, dhyana yoga, which have say the capacity to purify the mind. So that purification of mind has to take place over a period of time. And at that time, when you do this Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana, they over a period of time, they produce this thing called asanga, this sense of dispassion, this sense of distancing yourself from the life, distancing yourself from what you are doing. You are doing, not that you don't throw away the world. So like Akhandananda gives an example. The person who realizes that the pot is nothing but the clay, it does not mean that he breaks the pot. He will make use of that pot, he will make use of that pot, he will make use of the world. But and his behavior again is not erratic, his behavior is not violating dharma. That also, even yesterday in the Gita class we read Dharmya Dhanapetam. The Dharma Dhanapetam Dharmyam, that is what we read. So his conduct, the conduct of a jnani, is perfectly in conformity with dharma. There is not an iota of violation of dharma in his conduct. So that is what we saw. So this asanga shastra kruta uchcheda. This uchcheda means uprooting. This uprooting can take place with that asanga shastra. That aches called asanga, that aches called dispassion, aches called distancing yourself from all these things. So that is an axe with which you have to cut this, this tree called samsara. And how that asanga comes? Vedanta vihita brahmatma darshana. Vedanta vihita brahmatma darshana. This brahmatma darshana is Brahman and Atma is one and the same. This is the whole message of Vedanta. Vedanta vihita. Vihita means that which has been told, which has been, actually strictly speaking, vihita means that which has been imposed, which has been prescribed. But here it is not imposition. Here it is something which has been explained. Vedanta vihita, Brahmatma darshana. This is the realization that Atman is nothing but Brahman. So this realization is that will again give you that asanga. Asanga is again, that is also a practice, means a sadhana. It is also a part of sadhana. It is also the characteristic of a realized person. It is also, asanga has to be practiced over a period of time, and that is also the quality or a characteristic of a realized person, isn't it? That we have to see. That in Gita Bhashyam there is a beautiful line, that is, whatever a sadhaka does during the sadhana period, they are the characteristics of a jnani also. That is the line which from this Gita Bhashya which we have to remember. So here this Vedanta Vihita Brahmatma Darshana, this is the axe with which you are able to cut that tree. Then asanga shastra kruta uchchedaha yesha samsara vrukshaha ashvathaha. This samsara vruksha is ashvatha. That is nashvaha tishtati iti ashvatha. That is, it will not be there. The moment you realize it, it is not there. It is there, it appears as a solid tree so far as you don't realize it. Once you realize, the tree disappears. Then ashvathavat kama karma vaterita nitya prachalita swabhavaha. So this ashvatha tree, the people tree may be a very huge tree, but the leaves are so delicate. Leaves are ravi tree, what we call ravi tree. The leaves are very delicate. The leaves, they keep on moving, and then with a very, very little breeze also they keep on moving. And what to talk of a big wind? If there is a big wind, the tree, all the small branches will be moving, and then they will be making so much of noise, and then the entire tree will be rustling actually. So like that, this samsara vruksha also, ashvathavat kama karma vaterita. Kama karma. Some little bit of temptation is there. Kama, desire. And then with that desire, you are provoked to do some karma. These things are like vata. Vata is wind. Vata is wind. Vata irita. Vaterita means moved by these winds. Vata plus irita, vaterita, moved by the winds of these petty small actions motivated by small desires. Even a petty desire will provoke you to do some karma. So these winds of desire, let us say, all these winds of desire are actually shaking that whole tree. The winds of desire, they are shaking the tree and making so much of noise. Kama karma vaterita nitya prachalita swabhavaha. Every day it is shaken. Nitya prachalita. Prachalita means it is shaken. Every day that tree is shaken, every moment. Nitya means not every day, every minute. Nitya, always. Nitya means always. It is always having some desire. Always you see something, you see some new thing, and then you want it. So like that, this tree, samsara vruksha, is something which is always shaken, it is always in a state of flux, it is always moving, and then it is always asking for something new. So that is it. Then Swarga Naraka Tiryak Pretadibhihi Tiryak Pretadibhi Shakhabhihi Avak Shakhaha. So then we also saw that all the branches are downwards. So the Urdhva Moolam Avak Shakha. Avak means downwards. Avak is downwards. Avak shakha means the tree which is having shakhas, all the branches downwards. Then what are all these branches? Swarga, Naraka, Tiriyak, Preta. There are 4 things which are Adibhihi. Then some more are there, Adi, etc., etc. What are the main things are spoken here? Swarga. Swarga is one branch. This tree, Swarga is good company. Su plus Varga is Swarga. It's something like a good company. So Swarga is something you go to a good, say meeting one evening, maybe some scholars meeting or some such meeting. It is something like a Swarga. That is a good company. Then you go to some stupid meeting where some stupid people, they keep on quarreling and all that, or you go to an assembly, that is something called a Naraka. So it is that the thing. Swarga, Naraka, but all these things, they are achieved by karma only. The human being achieves this Swarga or Naraka or Tiriyak Dasha or Preta Dasha, all these things are achieved by his karmas only. So all the things which are described are due to various karmas. What all we saw here, the whole description of all this samsara vruksha, this is all because of kama and karma. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhava. This we saw in Gita also. This kama is something which is motivating a person to action, and then that action is creating all this, all the various branches, leaves and all these things of this samsara vruksha. Then Swarga, Naraka. Naraka, I explained to you the meaning of Naraka in this class or earlier class. Anyway, Naraka is a place where people cry, the place where people weep, wail. Naraha kayanti, kayanti, kaya dhatu means, kaya means cry. Naraha kayanti, the people cry in this, they wail, they weep in this. So Naraka, Tiriyak, Pretadibhi, Shakhabhi. Tiriyak, I told you Tiriyak also. Did we do this in the last class?
No, sir. We haven't read it.
But why? Okay, in the Gita Bhashya also maybe some similar words have come. Okay, Tiriyak. Tiriyak means that which is perpendicular, that which is parallel to the ground, whose spine is parallel to the ground. That is all these animals which move on 4 feet. Animals which move on 4 feet, they are called the Tiriyak Jantus, because they don't move straight like a human being. They don't walk, with the spine is not perpendicular, it is parallel to the ground. So they are called the Tiriyak Jantus. Then Preta. Preta means the demons which are there, something like the demons. Preta is a departed soul, departed, not exactly soul, the departed linga sharira, let us say, which are waiting to take up some body. So that is that Preta stage, which are waiting to take up some body. So all these things, they are like this avak shakhaha. These are the branches which are there downwards. Then sanatanaha. Anaditvat chiram pravruttaha.
Anaditvat chiram pravruttaha.
So this anaditvat chiram pravruttaha. This tree is called very ancient. Sanatana, strictly speaking, sadatana, that which is eternal. But this is not eternal. This may be anadi, but it is having an antam. We have seen one thing. This maya also is anadi, but it is santam. Santam means it has an end. Once you know this, once you realize yourself, once you know that you are the Brahman, then that maya ends. So likewise, this sanatanaha anaditvat chiram pravruttaha. So this is there. It is there for a long time. So this eternality which we are talking about is not real, is not an eternality in the absolute sense. It is only a relative eternality. It is not an absolute eternal thing, but it is relatively eternal thing. That is the samsara. Then yadasya samsara vrukshasya moolam
Yadasya samsara vrukshasya moolam
tadeva shukram shubhram shuddham
Tadeva shukram shubhram shuddham
jyotishmat
Jyotishmat
chaitanya atma jyotisvabhavam.
Chaitanya atma jyotisvabhavam.
So what is this moolam? Now we are coming to this second line. Urdhvamulo avakshakha yeshoshvattha sanatanaha. The next line says tadeva shukram tad brahma. Tat moolam, that particular moolam, that particular root. So what is the moolam of this samsara vruksha? After all, this samsara vruksha is nothing but the whole experience in this antahkarana only. And this antahkarana, what is the moolam for that? Antahkarana is actually from that cosmic intelligence only. That cosmic intelligence is Hiranyagarbha. And what is the moolam for that cosmic intelligence? The moolam for cosmic intelligence is that Supreme Brahman only. In that Supreme Brahman, there is a manifestation called, suddenly that, say that in that Maya, there is something like a sort of cosmic intelligence, a feeling of I, a feeling of ego that develops in that at that level. And from that, all other things like Vispulinga, like all small, say when some tree is burning, there will be sparks here and there. Like all these small sparks, all the so-called Jivaloka, the whole Jivaloka is born like that. So that is what one Upanishad says, Vispulinga. What we call Miduguru. Miduguru means petty sparks, sparkling. When you take a Deepavali sparkler, small sparkles, they come out. So something like that. So what is the moolam for this antahkarana? The moolam ultimately for the antahkarana. Moolam means karana, the cause. The cause for this antahkarana is ultimately the Supreme Brahman only. That samsara vrukshasya moolam tadeva shukram. Shukram means shubhram shuddham. So we can easily translate it as pure. But what exactly is this pure? Shukram is something which is pure, means what is this purity? What is antahkarana is impure. So when antahkarana is purified, it becomes pure. And this antahkarana, what are all the impurities? The impurities are your own bondages. The impurities are your own emotional, all these various feelings of love, hate, anger, etc., disgust, etc., all these things, they are the impurities. So all these impurities, when they are not there, when you are in that level of that Shuddha Chaitanya only, so that is what is called Shukram. You forget that feeling that you are a Jiva, that Jivatva Bhava. That Jivatva Bhava also is gone. When you are that Parichinnatva Bhava, that limitedness. Jiva is, what is that Jiva? When he identifies himself with this body-mind complex, he is called a Jiva. Antahkarana avachinna chaitanyam jivaha. So that is it. That is that particular consciousness which identifies itself with the body-mind complex is called the Jiva. So when you get rid of this Parichinnata means the delimited thing. When you get rid of this delimited thing, and then when you identify yourself with that Sakshi, I am not this Jiva Chaitanya, I am that Sakshi Chaitanya, I am something which is above this. Once you realize that, then that is the purity. That is the state which is called Shukram, Shubhram, Shuddham. So this is the meaning of that Shuddham. Then Jyotishmat Chaitanya Atma Jyotis Swabhavam. Then what is the nature of this thing? The nature of this thing is Jyotishmat Chaitanya Atma Jyotis Swabhavam. This Jyoti we have seen even in the earlier mantras. What is that? Natatra Suryo Bhati Nachandra Tarakam Nema Vidyuto Bhanti Kutoyam Agnihi. What is this Atma Jyoti? We had a very detailed explanation of that Atma Jyoti. Atma Jyoti is something which is the illuminator of everything else. I is the thing that is the Druk Swarupa. The I is the Druk basic, the Druk Swarupa, which is totally distinguished from all other Drushya. What all can be perceived by the senses, what all can be perceived by mind, intellect and all these things, they are all Drushyas only. So all these things, when you discard, then what remains as Shuddha Chaitanya, that is that Druk. That Druk is that Jyotishmat Chaitanya Atma Jyotis Swabhavam. Jyotis Swabhavam Tadeva Brahma Sarva Mahatvat. That itself is, that alone is Brahma. Tadeva Brahma. Brahma, the meaning of Brahma is Sarva Mahatvat. Brahma, the root meaning of Brahma is Brahmanat. Brahmanam. Brahmanam means becoming bigger and bigger. That beyond that there is nothing bigger. Brahmanat Brahma. So Sarva Mahatvat means there is nothing beyond that. There is nothing beyond that, and it is the great, say there is Sarva Mahatva. There is no Mahat Tattva beyond that. Mahat means great. There is nothing greater than that. Then let us read Tadeva Amrutam Avinasha Swabhavam Uchyate Katyate Satyatvat.
Uchyate kathyate satyatvat.
So tadeva amrutam. Amrutam again we have seen this word earlier. Amrutam is, the literal meaning is where there is no murti. Murti means death. Death means it includes birth also. Birth and death also means they include all these 6 changes, Shad Bhava Vikara, Jayate Asti, Vardhate, Parinamate, etc., etc. All these Bhava Vikaras. Bhava Vikaras means all these process modifications which appear in any manifest thing. All these 6 changes which manifest in any being. So these are the Bhava Vikaras. So this Amrutam is something which is where this Bhava Vikaras, they are not there. So, which means that you go beyond these Bhava Vikaras. So that is the meaning of Tadeva Amrutam. Then Tadeva Amrutam Avinasha Swabhavam Uchya. Avinasha Swabhavam. This is something, this Amrutam, once you realize this state, that is something which is there. It will not disappear. Yesterday also in Gita Bhashya we read one line, Avyayam, Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This Brahma Jnana is something which is avyayam. It will not go away. After all, this Amrutam, if you recall that story of that Amruta Manthan, what happens? The gods and demons are there, gods on one side, demons on one side, and then they churn that, the milk ocean. And when they churn that milk ocean, of course, lot many things they do come, and then at the end, Amrutam comes. So once the Amrutam comes, then of course there is a fight, and then how these Devas, they take that Amrutam, that is a story. But what is the philosophical meaning of that Amrutam? So you are churning your mind and discarding all these bad elements. Once you discard these bad elements, then that is what that is the state of this Amrutam. after you churn your mind, after you churn this whole Prapancha, and for churning this Prapancha, what is the tool that is required? Viveka, discrimination. Discrimination is the churning rod. With that churning rod called discrimination, once you churn this ocean called samsara, what is described as a tree. Well, of course, it is described here as a tree, but from this metaphor, you move over to the metaphor of ocean. And then in that metaphor, once you churn it with Viveka, then what is produced is Amrutam only. So that is the Tadeva Amrutam Tat Avinasha Swabhavat Uchyate Kathyate Satyatvat. Satyatvat means this is something there is no special meaning for this Satyatvat. Uchyate Kathyate Satyatvat. Because this Amrutam, this stage of realization, that itself is something which is real, and that is Amrutam. There is no particular meaning given for this Satyatvat. Okay. Then Vacharambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam.
Vacharambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam.
Anrutam Anyat. Ato Martyam. So he is quoting a line from Chandogya Upanishad. This line, Vacharambhanam Vikaro Namadheyam Vrittiketi Eva Satyam, that is a line from Chandogya Upanishad. So he is quoting a part of that line. Vacharambhanam Vikaraha Namadheyam. Vikara means any modification. Any change or modification is Vacharambhanam. Vacha Arambhanam. It is just a play of words. It is just a play of words. Any modification is only a new name which is given. Mrut can take, that is clay, can take shape of hundreds and hundreds of shapes. Can take hundreds and hundreds of shapes. Similarly, gold. Gold is the source, that is the material. That can take the shape of, take hundreds and hundreds of shapes. So all these shapes, they also have some names, but all these things are called vikaras. All these names and forms are called vikaras of the same original material. So this vikara is the real thing. The unmoving thing, unchanging thing is the real thing, and all these vikaras are only namesake. Vacharambhanam. It is just a play of words. And then Namadheyam. Namadheyam also I discussed earlier. Nama Matram, namesake. Dheya is a pratyaya which means Matrarthe Dhyeya pratyaya. That is Nama Matram. Nama Dheyam means Nama Matram. Usually we keep asking people, me Nama Dheyam enti. We should not ask like that. Me Nama is good enough. Nama Dheya, when you say Nama Dheyam, Nama Matram. Because Dheya is an additional unnecessary pratyaya we are adding. in our conversations. So, Namadheya, Namadheyam. So, any modification is only a Namadheyam. It is only a play of words. It is only Nama Matram. So, this again is basically reminding that this Asti Bhati Priyam, which we talked about, that Sat Chit Ananda, these three are the components of that Supreme Brahman which do not perish. And this Nama and Rupa, these are the things which keep on changing. Then, and because these are changing, Anrutam, Anyat. Anyat means all else except that supreme thing which is immutable. What we have seen as Shukram, Shubhram, Jyotishmat and Amrutam. So, except that thing, those things which are immutable, which is of the shape of consciousness and which is something which is Amrutam, eternal. So, except that Satchit and eternal thing, all other things are Martyam. Martyam is mortal. Martya is mortal. Yeah? Anrutam is falsehood, unreal. Anrutam is unreal. Anrutam, Anyadato Martyam. Then, Tasmin Paramartha Satye Brahmani Lokaha Gandharva Nagara Marichyudaka Maya Samaha Paramartha Darshana Bhava Avagamanaha Abhava Avagamanaha Shritaha Ashritaha. We will stop here. The Tasmin Paramartha Satye Brahmani. This Brahma is called Paramartha Satya. We discussed this word earlier also. Paramartha Satya. What is Paramartha Satya? What are the other thing? Vyavaharik Satya. There is another word called Pratibhasika Satya. So Pratibhasika Satya is the thing which is at the lowest level. In the whole hierarchy, the lowest level is Pratibhasika Satya. That is, you see, suppose you see some rope and then you immediately don't see it as a rope and then you see it as a snake. That is, it is a pratibhasa. Pratibhasa means just an appearance, just a phenomena. So, that phenomena is there as long as you do not really see the rope. And once you just put your torchlight and see that rope, that snake is gone and you can see the rope, isn't it? So, that is what is called Pratibhasika Satyam. The definition given is Pratibhasika Samaniya Tattvam. It will exist only as long as that Pratibhasa is there. And then once you do some small little enquiry into that, it will go away. So, Pratibhasika Satyam is something which is negated by even at the Vyavaharika level. Pratibhasika Satyam is negated by the Vyavaharika level. Then Vyavaharika Satyam is, that is a human interaction. You have interaction with all your, all your friends, relatives and all that, the whole world, we have interaction every day. And this appears to be very, very real as long as Paramartha Satyam is not known. Once the Paramartha Satyam is known, then this also looks rather not totally unreal. When we say Mithya is one dangerous word which you have to properly see. Mithya does not mean it is totally unreal. Mithya is something which is having some Vyavaharika truth. Mithya means not totally unreal like Shashashrunga. The example given for a totally unreal thing is Shashashrunga. That is, you take the horn of a hare. H-A-R-E, hair, Shashashrunga, that is, or something like Gandharva Nagara. Gandharva Nagara means something as a sort of a city in the sky. That which is not there, it is impossible, something which is impossible. So, it is not such an impossibility. There is some degree of truth. All these things, we are talking about various degrees of truth. Phenomenal truth, that is phenomenal level, is something which is the lowest degree of truth. Then the Vyavaharika level is having a higher degree of truth. But compared to the Paramarthika level, this disappears once you realize that supreme reality. So these are the three levels which we talk about. Paramarthika level is called the absolute reality. This Vyavaharika level is called transactional reality or empirical reality. So this empirical reality does not mean that the whole world is totally non-existing and totally shunya. It's not like that. It is having some reality at a limited level. That is why all these Dharma Shastras are there. Otherwise, all these Dharma Shastras will lose meaning. Anybody can do anything, and then there is no such thing as good or bad. All these shastras, they will lose their say pramanyam. So this has some degree of reality. That is why there is what is called Veda. That is why there are Upanishads. That is why there are so many Shastra Granthas. That is why we have got so many secular studies, history, physics, mathematics, and all these things, chemistry, and all these things. All these things are having some degree of reality, which are there at the transactional level. So here, Tasmin Paramartha Satye Brahmani, that is, once you know that Paramarthika Satyam, once you know that supreme reality, Lokaha Gandharva Nagara Marichyudaka Maya Samaha. So all these lokas which we talk about, they become Gandharva Nagara, Marichyudaka, Maya Samaha. There are three examples given. Gandharva Nagara, something like a city in the sky, or Marichyudaka. Marichi means mirage. Marichyudaka means water in the mirage. Then Maya, total magician's magic. We are not referring to this Maya, the appearance in Brahman. We are referring to ordinary magic. Maya Samaha. Then Paramartha Darshana Bhava Avagamanaha. All these are appearing only because of Paramartha Darshana Abhava. In the absence of the vision of Paramartha, in the absence of the vision of supreme reality, all these are appearing. When you are not able to see the truth, there are lot many false things which are appearing, unreal things which are appearing. Paramartha Darshana Abhava, that is, in the absence of Paramartha Darshana, these things are Avagamanaha. Avagamanaha means these things are being experienced, these things are being seen. Then Shritaha Ashritaha, all these things, they are sheltered in our ignorance. Paramartha Darshana Bhavat only, all these things are sheltered. All these things are sheltered in our own ignorance because of our inability to see the supreme reality. Then Sarve Samastaha Utpatti Sthiti Layeshu. All these things, all these lokaha, Utpatti, Sthiti, Laya, all these things are in this level of ignorance only. Because Maya and Hiranyagarbha, that is the basic origin, isn't it? From that only, whatever Akasha, Vayu, Ragni, this whole appearance comes. And then that Hiranyagarbhaloka is what is the supreme thing according to, for all these human activities. And then if you want to go beyond that Brahmaloka, it is only that Jnana only, that is the only sadhana. So that is what we have seen in Gita Bhashyam and also in this Upanishad also earlier. So Samastaha Lokaha Utpatti Sthitilaya. Utpatti Sthitilaya is that whole cycle of Srushti Sthitilaya. That we have seen in the Gita Bhashya also about how this Brahma's day, that is Srushti Kalam, Brahma's night is that Pralaya. That description we have seen. Then Tadu Tat Brahma Na Atyeti Na Ativartate Mrudadimiva Ghatadi Karyam Kasyana Kashidapi Vikaraha Etad Vai Tat. So Tadu Tad Brahma. Tadu means that particular Brahma, Tadu, Tat Brahma, na atyeti na ativartate. No one goes beyond. How? Mrudadimiva ghatadi karyam. You take hundreds and hundreds of, manipulations of clay. You take clay and make hundreds and hundreds of manipulations, but all those karyas are in the karana. So karyam, the general principle told here is karya is always in the karana. Karyam is something, karyam means effect. Effect is something which is always contained in the cause. So this thing, you take hundreds and hundreds of ornaments, all of them are contained in gold. So likewise, all these appearances, they are appearance in that consciousness only. So in that consciousness only is appearing as all these things. Then this is what is called a vivarta. It is not as though this consciousness is undergoing a change, because in consciousness there cannot be a parinama. Only in jada there can be a parinama. In consciousness there cannot be a parinama. Parinama is changing. Like a milk changing into curd, this parinama cannot happen in consciousness. Only in Maya, this Jagat is supposed to be Maya Parinama. Maya Parinamam and Brahma Vivartam. These two words we have to remember. Jagat is as a result of Maya Parinama and Brahma Vivarta. Vivarta means Brahma has not actually changed like this, but then Brahma is appearing like this through this medium called Maya. So that is what we have to see. Maya is the thing which is Parinamate. Brahma is looking like that. It is a Vivarta. So that is why Mrudadimiva Ghatadi Karyam. Just as a Ghata cannot go beyond clay, similarly all these appearances cannot go beyond that Supreme Brahman. Tadunatyeti kasyana kasyidapi vikaraha. All these vikaras are contained in that original thing only. Then etad vaitat. This indeed is that. So we have completed the first mantram. Then yad vijnanat amruta bhavanti ityuchyate jagatah moolam tadeva nasti brahma asat eva idam nisrutamiti tat na. Tan na. Okay. There is a Shanka. Shanka means a doubt. There is a doubt or some sort of say Purva Paksha which says Yad Vijnanat Amruta Bhavanti Ityuchyate. You are saying that by knowing this people become Amruta. This shloka, this mantra, earlier mantra said, by knowing this you become Amruta. Then how, that is by knowing this Brahman, you are becoming Brahman. You are realizing your real nature, that you are that supreme consciousness which has no birth, death, etc., etc. All these bhava vikaras are not there. You are realizing. Only realization is what is becoming Brahma, isn't it? Realization that you are that supreme consciousness. The moment you realize, you are above all these things. So that is the meaning here. Then yad vijnanat amruta bhavanti ityuchyate and jagatah moolam tadeva nasti. That moolam, what you say, that Brahman, etc., etc., it is not there. Brahma asadeva. Brahma is something which is unreal. Asadeva idam nisrutam. Whatever is there, whatever is seen, it is something totally unreal. Some people say asadeva idam nisrutam. Asadeva idam nisrutam means all this thing has come from that asat, or totally unreal. So some people may say like that. So this reply is tat na. It is not like that, because the Shruti is saying, very clearly asserting that there is something called Supreme Brahman, which is the root for all these things. It is not as though this is something totally shunyam, from which everything has originated. There is what is called the Supreme Brahman, and Shruti is telling this. Let us read this thing. Yadidam kincha jagat sarvam pranayejati nisrutam mahadbhayam vajramudyatam yaye tadviduramrutaste bhavanti amrutaste bhavanti. Okay. This here it is being told that this Brahma, yad idam kincha jagat sarvam, what all we see as this jagat, that is, then prane yejati nisrutam. This parasmin brahmani, prana here refers to Brahma. Prana here, you have to note down, prana does not refers to this vital air, prana refers to Brahma. In fact, there is one adhikaranam also in say Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Okay, what is that adhikaranam? It is called Kampanadhikaranam, because in such cases we have to get back to Brahma Sutra. So for example, you in one particular place you find the word prana, and in that context, suppose you take the literal meaning of this vital air, prana vayu, etc., then the meaning will not fit in. So you have to see what is there earlier and what is there later, and then you have to decide the meaning of this particular word. So the meaning of this particular word prana has been discussed in one adhikarana called Kampanadhikaranam, that is first pada, first adhyaya, third pada, 1-3-29, 1-3-29. That is the sutra that refers to this. That has a big discussion about what this word prana means. So what has been told earlier, that is pranasya pranam, etc., it has been told earlier. This Brahman is something which is the prana of the prana. This is the life of that particular life. So you are not referring to this vital air, you are referring to something which is the root of that, which is actually giving rise to this prana. So, and then subsequently also, we are having one mantra which says that because of the fear of this Brahman, because of this fear, all this Agni, Vayu and all these things are doing their functions. Bhayadasya Agnistapati, Bhayad Tapati Surya, Bhayad Indrascha Vayuscha, this Indra, Vayu, etc., etc., all these cosmic functionaries, they all function because of the fear, because of that universal order, because of that cosmic order of that Supreme Brahman. So that is what the next mantra says. So we have to see the overall context, we have to see what was told earlier and what is going to be told later and what is told in some other say Upanishads, and then we have to say what we have to decide the meaning. So for this word prana, the meaning is Brahma, Parabrahma. So prana yejati, prana yejati here means prane, prane means Brahmani sati, in the presence of Brahman only. Nisrutam, Nisrutam means it is emerged, it has emerged from that Brahman. What has emerged from that Brahman? Yadidam kincha jagat sarvam. This whole jagat, parasmin brahmani sati, this is Nisrutam. Nisrutam yejati. Yejati means moves. We have seen this word in Ishavasya Upanishad. Tad yejati, tannaijati, tad dure, tad dvantike. We have read this in Ishavasya. Tad yejati. The root is ejru. Ejru kampana. Kampana means move. That is tad ejati. So prane ejati nisrutam. In the presence of that parasmin Brahma, in the presence of that Supreme Brahman only, whatever has emerged, all this thing yadidam nisrutam, whatever has emerged, yad idam nisrutam, whatever has emerged. Nisrutam means that which has come out, that which has emerged. All that which has emerged, this jagat sarvam, prana yejati. In the presence of this Brahman only, it is all moving, it is capable of moving. Then mahat bhayam vajram udyatam ya etad viduhu amrutaste bhavanti. Mahad bhayam, that is, this is something which is highly, we can't say terrifying or something like that. Here of course the Shruti is becoming slightly poetic. You see, sometimes the Shruti also says, it gives some words which are slightly poetic in nature. Mahad bhayam vajram udyatam. Vajram udyatam means udyatam vajram. Udyata means vajra ayudham, that is that weapon called vajram is raised. It is as though it is in a raised hand. That vajra ayudham is, Brahman is, it is as though that Supreme Brahman is holding this ayudham in his hand, and then it is say keeping everybody in order, keeping all these cosmic functionaries in order. So that is what is here. Mahad bhayam vajram udyatam ya etad viduhu, those who know. Ya etad, ya means ye janaha, those people. Etad viduhu, those who know this. Amrutaha te bhavanti, they attain this amrutatva. They become this, they attain this amrutatva. Amrutatva means that eternality. Again, the meaning of amrutatva is the same which we just discussed. In the earlier mantra also we discussed this amrutatvam. That is, getting rid of your parichanna bhava, identifying yourself with that supreme thing. So that is that amrutatvam. So this shloka, this mantra tells that this Brahman is that it is the source of everything. And as we discussed earlier, we discussed one word called abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. This is upadana karanam is the clay. Then the potter is the nimitta karanam. Potter is the instrumental cause, and then this clay is the material cause. But in the case of the world, both the material cause and the instrumental cause is that Supreme Brahman only. And then when we are referring to it as, when you are saying that the Supreme Brahman himself is the material and supreme, instrumental cause, we are actually referring to Maya, because Supreme Brahman has nothing to do with this actual process of creation. Actual process of creation actually starts from this Maya level only. So through the medium of Maya, he is called the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana, not directly. Brahman, the Supreme Brahman, on one hand you are saying it is Asanga, nothing Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Swabhava, untouched by everything. It is of the nature of pure consciousness and all that. And then how can we say that he is the creator and all that? So what all we are saying when we say this Brahman is the creator, it is in a figurative way. that we are ultimately referring to that Maya Vachana Chaitanyam only, which is responsible for this thing. So that we have to keep in mind. So this Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam is that Maya, because Maya Parinama only is this whole world. So let us read the Bhashyam. Is the mantra clear? Yadidam, Yadidam Nisrutam, that is whatever has emerged, Jagat Sarvam, this whole world which has emerged, Prane Yejati, that because of that Parasmin Brahma, because of that Parabrahma, it moves. Then Mahad Bhayam, it is something which is terrifying, let us say. It is something which is terrifying. And then Vajra Mudyatam, it is as though this Vajra Ayudha is held high in his hand, and then it is as though this Brahman is controlling everybody. This Vajrayudham you must be knowing.
Yes.
Vajrayudham is, what is that? Yeah, Indra's weapon is Vajrayudham. So this story also we can slightly recall. Indra, in the Vedic say context, Indra is a very, very supreme deity in the Vedic context. Then there he, on the other side there is a demon called Vrutrasura. Vrutra means avaranam, that is enveloping, that is ignorance. Vrutra is avaranam, avrunoti iti vrutraha, vrunoti, avrunoti, that is he covers, he encompasses, that is, it is referring to Ajnana. Ajnana only is having that avarana shakti and vikshepa shakti. So that Vrutrasura represents avarana shakti and vikshepa shakti, that is actually he symbolizes Ajnana. And then Devendra is in the Vedic context, Devendra sometimes he also is referred to as the Supreme Brahman, like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara and all that thing. Indra is a very supreme god in the Vedic literature. So Indra, he has to remove that Ajnana. And in order to remove that Ajnana, he needs some weapon. So the weapon is there was a very great sage, say Rishi called Dadhichi. And then that Dadhichi was a very great sage, and then he had his, spinal, vertebra, this vertebral column, this whole vertebral column, that vertebral column was taken as a weapon. That Rishi's vertebral column is the weapon for Lord Indra to remove that Ajnana. So what does that vertebral column symbolize? That vertebral column symbolizes that Sushumna Nadi. That Sushumna Nadi again means that Kundalini Shakti. Kundalini Shakti again symbolizes Jnanam. So this Jnanam is the weapon which this Indra holds in his hand in order to vanquish that Vrutrasura. So that is one story which we have to recall here. That Vajram, the meaning of Vajram actually means that Vajrayudha is not something made of some fine steel or some explosive material or anything like that. It is not that. Vajrayudham does not refer to any explosive material or some other arrow, some other type of thing. It is the whole thing is symbolic. In Veda, wherever these stories appear, all these stories are symbolic in nature. We have to see that it is something between light and darkness. It is something between intelligence and ignorance. It is something between knowledge and ignorance. So this Devendra, this Deva, the very meaning of Deva is Divyate, that is brilliance, shining. So Devendra is on one side, and Vrutra means something which encompasses Vrutra, Asura again, those who indulge in sensual pleasures. So this Ajnana on one hand and Jnanam on the one hand. Then Jnanam, then of course some dramatization of that fighting has to take place. So for that dramatization they have taken that Rishi, one Rishi probably who has done some great tapas sadhana etc. And then that is symbolized by taking his vertebral column as the weapon. So his vertebral column is taken as a weapon, and then he is vanquishing that Vrutrasura. So that is the story of that Vajram. So it is as though with a raised thunder he is controlling everything. So let us read this. Is the time over?
Almost 1 minute.
Only 1 minute. Then we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.